Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Shootout Pro Wrestling. I'm your host, Survivor of Pain, and the boss, Bill Blanchard. And along with my co-host today, co-holder of the Bad Boys World Wrestling Tag Team Championship, and also still currently AWF and UCW World Tag Team titles as well. So you can call them a three-time unified World Tag Team Champion if you would. And also former World Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion himself, my co-host, Christian Fury. Fury, boss, man, how the hell are you? And happy early Thanksgiving to you.
Well, happy early Thanksgiving to you too, brother. It's been a wild, emotional weekend. Looking to talk about Deadly Game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about. Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about Deadly Game, the Survivor Series, the 1998, if you would, Survivor Series. And man, I gotta be honest with you, man. It was during a crazy time period in wrestling that Monday Night Wars was at its peak, and you had a crazy, stupid Italian magazine writer who got a writer's job, who wrote a perfect script that even myself did not see coming. So congratulations to Vince Russo for writing out. I mean, this guy doesn't get a lot of credit. I know a lot of true wrestling historians does not like this guy, and supposedly Vince Russo doesn't like them, blah, 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 blah. But at least on one occasion, on one night, he did wrote out a pretty good, interesting storyline that deals with the situation with The Rock, with Mankind, Shane McMahon, Vince McMahon, the Boss Man, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, and Vince McMahon himself. I mean, Jay, I want to put you on the spot, man. We all know what happened. Did you see it coming?
No, honestly, I didn't. I did not see that coming. That was a pretty good swerve. Got you thinking they were going right when they were going left, or however you want to look at it. When you think they were going up, they were going down. You know, however you want to look at it. You know, I mean, it was one of those that, yeah, some of it you could say, yeah, I knew that was coming. You know, but the end, I did not see that coming. You know, it's like one of those with the McMahons, you learn to expect the unexpected, but that ending kind of threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting that. But before we get too far in, we want to talk a little bit about new stuff, and then we'll kick into what brought us here. First thing I want to do is give a shout out to the Usos. They are now the longest reigning WWF Tag Team Champions in WWE history. They just defeated the benchmark of the New Day. So that's a feat in itself and a testament to that tag team. Congratulations, Usos. You deserve it. And I also want to throw a shout out. Congratulations to the new AEW champion, MJF. Didn't see that coming. Could have swore Moxley was going to pull it off at the end, but hey, congratulations either way. So, with that being said, you know, another thing I want to talk about, I know it's un-wrestling related, but, you know, we just recently we lost somebody that might have been a part of a majority of our childhoods that might listen to this podcast. The guy that played Tommy Oliver in Power Rangers passed away. Another details are a little fuzzy at this time.
His name is Jason David Frank. That's his name.
Correct. But I know there's a lot of details that are a little fuzzy, but I know he was going through a divorce. We pray for his family, his kids, and everybody that's affected by it. That's pretty much all the new news that I've really got. What do you got?
Well, Jason David Frank, you know, like I said, you know, was a champion in martial arts, mixed martial arts, karate, Muay Thai. You know, he did have an MMA record. He won 3 matches by submission, but never really got a chance to do mainstream. But you know, as far as like fantasy warfare, if you would, you got to see him as the Green Ranger, you know, versus one of the Street Fighter Kalu, and then in the Mortal Kombat Legend Scorpion, you got to see the White Ranger, you know, face off. So that was really, really, really cool, you know. But I mean, all I can say is mental health is a for real thing coming from someone who struggles with mental health and is a suicide survivor himself, myself. And, just sometimes you look for strength, and you look for strength from your childhood. Sometimes, and he was one of the guys that that I look to for advice. And I can't wrap my brain around it, man. I'm kind of still in shock. But again, my prayers for his family, my prayers for the fans, anybody that's affected by this, anyone that's affected by mental health, get help. You're not in the struggle alone. And it's done. I know it's easier said than done. But
It is.
back to your other thing that you said about the Usos. I'm not going to take nothing away from the Usos. They're a great tag team. But the only problem I have with them being the longest, tag team and WWE, WWF, whatever you want to call it, history. The tag team competition is not what it was in the 1980s and the 1990s, if you would, or even the 2000s for that matter. It just seemed like they just try to put people together, form a tag team, and have them fight. Could the Usos have survived the era where you had the Powers of Pain, you had Demolition, you had the Rougeos, you had the Hart Foundations, you had the Bolsheviks, you had the Bushwhackers, you had the Nasty Boys. Would they survive that era? Would they survive Power and Glory? Would they survive the Rockers? You know what I mean? Hell, the Simone SWAT team, Head Shrinker tag team themselves. You look at WCW, where they survived the Road Warriors, or Legion of Doom, the Midnight Express, the Rock and Roll Express, the Team of Doom, the Harlem Heat. You know what I'm saying? Cactus Jackson, Mac Payne. If you would, the Horsemen. I think I said the Midnight Express earlier. I mean, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. Would they survive a tag team like them? Whether they're the Horsemen or whether they're known as the Brainbusters. I mean, you look at Demolition for 3 years in a row, they've had under those tag belts. They've only lost them and then went right back shortly after they lost them. They had big rivalries with the Powers of Pain, the Colossal Connection, the Brainbusters, the Hart Foundation, the Rockers. I mean, my opinion to this day, Demolition is the best WWF tag team of all time, considering they're the type of tag teams those guys went at each other and faced. And the only tag team could come close to matching them is the Hart Foundation, who had big rivalries with Demolition. Let's look at the Road Warriors for here. Compared to Usos, let's look at the Road Warriors record. The only tag teams that held the AWA tag titles, the NWA tag titles, and WWF tag titles. I mean, what about the Dudleys? Let's look what they did, not just in TNA, but in ECW and WWE. I mean, come on. What about Edge and Christian, the masters of the TLC, who held multiple tag team champions? I mean, my God, I'm not trying to take nothing away from them. They were to hold on to the tag titles. They whip against any tag team that they face. But I'm really curious. My opinion, the Usos have not been tested. They have not had to take on any real, true, legitimate tag teams. And yes, you can talk about the New Day. You can talk about Randy Orton and Matt Riddle. Again, another team, just two guys that were just thrown together, trying to become a tag team. I want to see the Usos tested against a legitimate tag team. And the only problem we've had over the years is something been said. If you anybody listen to Something to Wrestle With, Bruce Pritchard would say Vince McMahon was never really a true fan of tag team wrestling. And I don't know. That's just sad. I think tag team is the lost art in professional wrestling. But my opinion, like I said, congratulations to the Usos, but they have not been tested yet, in my opinion.
Brought up some very, very strong points there, brother. But for this era, yeah, they're it. But greatest tag team ever, I know my dad will argue with you. That would be the Road Warriors, the Legion of Doom, hands down. My dad would argue that point, But it's just a match that we will never get to see,
No,
and
it's fantasy warfare, and I appreciate your dad would argue that. He grew up the generation of the Road Warriors. I still say the greatest tag team, period, is Rick and Scott Steiner brothers. I mean, that era that when they dominated every major tag team. I mean, Rick Steiner went down to a big freaking list of all the tag teams that Steiner Brothers defeated, and all those tag teams were all Hall of Famer. I mean, you look at Steiner Brothers, not just United States tag titles, NWA World Tag Team titles, the Paddle Chrome World Tournament, the Japanese IWGP Tag Team Champions as well, and they did hold the WWE World Tag titles, and then they were also World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champions. I mean, Rick and Scott has been all over the world as a tag team. You know, I don't think they get their just due as a great tag team in this business. But at the same time, I'm going to lean toward the Road Warriors just a little bit because every time you hear their freaking theme song, dude, man, the crowd just erupted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as far as the badass goes, you're not going to see not too many tag teams that got managing of the Road Warriors. You know, you want to talk about fantasy warfare tag team matches? I would love to have witnessed in their prime, okay, the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom, at their best versus the Brothers of Destruction, Undertaker and Kane.
Oh, yes.
Imagine this. Or I'll go one step further, a triangle match, if you would, with the Outsiders, Hall and Nash, you know.
Why not?
Two big bullies, you throw them in with the Brothers of Destruction, you throw in the Road Warriors, and let's see who would come out on top, you know. Of course, I know your favorite tag team of all time is the Hollywood Blondes. You at one point argued with me that the Blondes would beat the Steiners and the Road Warriors. So I'm going to put you on the spot. You think the Hollywood Blondes would beat the Usos? The best tag team of the day?
Why not? Right in front of the camera while they're filming it with their little hand cam. Yep, the Hollywood Blondes.
Something tells me the bloodline would not allow that to happen, bro. Just saying.
I get picked on for my love for the Hollywood Blondes, but it's good. I like the Hollywood Blondes. I think they didn't get 100% their just due, and I think they ended prematurely. You know, but hey, you know, we weren't writing the story. That wasn't the story they're trying to tell. We've heard that before in a podcast. Thanks, Bruce. You know, you know.
Yeah. No.
But anyway. But yeah, congratulations to you guys. Modern Era today, okay. Yeah, the greatest tag team of today. Yeah, you got me. You got me on that one. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and start talking about Deadly Game. Brother, since you are the historian, my wrestler encyclopedia right now, if you will, can you explain a little bit of the events that led up to Deadly Game?
Well, Vince McMahon had always been talking about, since Stone Cold had defeated Shawn Michaels, that he had a master plan that was going to get the title off Austin. And he's had several plans. You know, he tried it with Dude Love, with 2 pay-per-views back-to-back. What kind of odds was that against Austin? Austin retained the title. That didn't work. Throw him in there, King in the Ring, like first blood match, you know, with the Big Red Machine Kane. That plan worked. But Austin got the rematch the very next night. Austin regained the championship belt. You know, so Vince was like, what the hell? So, but then he gets the match with The Undertaker at the SummerSlam. Austin retained the title right there. So then he comes up with one big master plan where it was Undertaker and Kane, one-on-one with Stone Cold Steve Austin. It looked like it was going to be a triple threat match, but as a man put it, Kane was prohibited from pinning the Undertaker, and Undertaker was prohibited from pinning Kane. They had to make it where, you know, Austin would get pinned. And it's a weird little finish, a double choke slam that happened. Both Undertaker and Kane covered Austin. So Austin lost the title, but Undertaker and Kane, who was it going to be? So following pay-per-view, let's go down to No Mercy. Undertaker goes one-on-one with Kane, with Austin, a special guest referee. But Austin refused to count to 1, 2, 3, so McMahon fired Austin right there in the spot. So McMahon's going to put the championship belt up in the tournament at the Survivor Series. But the little wrench in McMahon's plan, Shane McMahon offers Austin his contract to come back to the WWE. Austin returns. And then now we're all set for the Survivor Series, man. But at the same time, McMahon's having a problem with the people, so then he shows his attention on the people's champion, The Rock, who just got done feuding with DX and Triple H, and he just came across from SummerSlam '98, that same year, where The Rock lost his Intercontinental title in a ladder match. but then bounces back in the September pay-per-view breakdown and wins a triple threat match involving Mankind and Ken Shamrock, Then I think he's having some matches with Mark Henry. But The Rock, all of a sudden, becoming a fan favorite. Crowds going crazy over his catchphrases. So McMahon asserts his attentions on The Rock. Now, it's kind of looking like the big baby face here is going to get the big push. You're going to Survivor Series. It's almost like 10 years prior. You see Hulk Hogan get screwed by the double referee with Andre the Giant. Now Hulk Hogan has to rub some Hulk Hogan dust on the Macho Man, and you see the Macho Man wins this freaking tournament. So it looks like it's leading toward a similar situation, whereas The Rock, the up-and-coming babyface, is going to get his opportunity to become World Wrestling Federation champion, and McMahon's backing McMankind. Almost like DiBiase was getting the backing that he was going to be the next world champion. So it was leaning toward that, though. But then, golly, in the freaking tournament, you start seeing a little bit of signs. Triple H couldn't compete in the tournament because he wasn't clear from his injury. So you had the big boss man out there who already screwed Austin, out of his in the tournament. So when The Rock does a big schoolboy small package roll up within seconds, like, man, what the hell, damn, dude. And The Rock is in there in the finals, and he's going to be in there with Mankind because, like I said, Boss Man, although did not come out in time in the ring. Apparently, he was BS and having a talk with somebody else, and Bruce is like, "Well, damn, where's the Boss Man at?" Because after Shane McMahon screwed Steve Austin in a match with Mankind, there was no Boss Man. Boss Man was supposed to be in the ring, hit Austin with a freaking chair. There was no freaking Boss Man. So old Gerald Briscoe had to get in there, and old Briscoe had to go in there and freaking hit Steve Austin over the head. And he had to be careful about it, though, man. He didn't want to freaking hurt Steve. Steve had a bad neck, we all know that. But Mankind got to 1, 2, 3 after the freaking still shot to Austin's head. And now got the big finals. Mankind one-on-one with The Rock, the Brahma Bull. And this was the start of their big feud. I mean, really, The Rock versus Mankind. It started right here. And, dude, it was a back-and-forth brawl, back-and-forth battle, if you would. A lot of good, hard bumps took place in that match. Some hard chair shots took place in that match. But then all of a sudden, The Rock, the people's eyebrow over at Vince and Shane, who were at ringside. And then he puts Mankind in the sharpshooter on the 1-year anniversary where Shawn Michaels put Bret Hart in the sharpshooter. And then you can hear Vince McMahon, ring the bell, ring the bell. And all of a sudden, the swerve happened. McMahon,
1 year, the exact pay-per-view 1 year later, Survivor
1 year later. But McMahon's master plan happened. He fooled everyone. They were thinking The Rock was going to be their champion. As McMahon put it, he was always my champion. That master plan that no one didn't see coming to get the belt off of Austin into a guy that they considered would be a great representative of the World Wrestling Federation. The corporate champion.
Corporate champ. So everything went from the people to corporate. The corporate eyebrow, the corporate elbow, the corporate champion. Mankind was crushed. Because Mankind, look, he went through all the grooming process. He even shaved his trademark beard when he was Cactus Jack off his face. Still wore his mask, unlike some other guy we know.
Yeah.
He even wore a tuxedo to the matches. The first one, hand-picked opponent, Dwayne Gill, first round.
Sure did.
To say that match didn't last very long. It was almost like everything leading through the tournament, everybody was making sure Mankind won. So toward the end, everybody was thrown off, saying, what? Because you had Vince McMahon handpicked Mankind's opponent, Dwayne Gill. Shane McMahon's pretty much screwed Austin for Mankind, figuratively speaking, by not counting the 3 count, which Shane McMahon is the one that brought Austin back to the company. And if I remember correctly, he was outside of wrestling, out there when the bell rang when The Rock became champion. Or
He
was
was.
given the belt. Because
They
Mankind
both.
didn't submit.
Nope. Mankind did not submit. He did not submit.
They went as far as creating the hardcore title for the hardcore legend. Yeah, made it, it put a bitter taste in everybody's mouth about The Rock, but what did it do to Mankind? It catapulted him. Because now he's feuding with the champion, The Rock, the great one, the corporate champion, you know. I mean, we can argue. I mean, if you really look at it, yeah, they changed the belt back and forth between each other after Deadly Game.
I don't think it was that particular match that catapulted Mick. I've always said the Hell in the Cell is 6 months prior to that, catapulted Mick Foley into superstardom. I mean, reality. I mean, 50 years long after Mick Foley, the Undertaker, had passed on, people will still talk about that night.
You are absolutely correct.
But I've always, that match led up to, the In Your House Rock Bottom. The match right there where Mankind actually won by the mandible claw, but McMahon would say, well, however, since The Rock did not tap out or was pinned, still, World Wrestling Federation champion. I mean, they had a good rivalry all the way, all the way through all that thing. And then, but, you got to think, though, if you're Undertaker and Kane, you've been in a title picture, then all of a sudden you're out of the title picture. Now McMahon went with the Brahma Bull, The Rock. What do you think they're thinking at this point, man?
I know.
They got screwed. They got your freaking thinking like, what the hell?
He used us to get the belt off Austin.
And that kind of annoyed me a little bit. I felt like Undertaker at one point should have gotten the belt at least once, that year,
Either that or he should have picked a monster. Pick one.
Yeah.
Kane or Undertaker.
But The Rock was on the rise, I mean, he was getting reactions, maybe boos and jeers, but as much as they try to push his guys to heel, he still kept getting cheered. And there wasn't long after the feud that The Rock had with Austin, he became a babyface again. It is what it is, But really, all it started really at Deadly Games, that Survivor Series. What was your big takeaway from the pay-per-view? I mean, did you when you after you watched it and you can go look back, oh yeah, I should have seen this coming. You're seeing a little hint, a little bit of spots. Of course, Vince Russo takes all the credit, 100%. It was all his writing.
Well, why wouldn't Vince Russo take all the credit? If it was a good idea, of course he was going to take all the credit, or at least if he felt like it was a great idea, he was going to take 100% of the credit, but take 0% of the blame if it sucked. If it was the other way around, right? So, Vince Russo might have wrote this and everything like that, but what he had in WWF, he didn't have in WCW, where they go, no, that ain't going to work, Vince. That ain't going to work, Mr. Russo. We're not going to do that,
Let me ask this question. Are you a Vince Russo guy? Or are you leaning toward Jim Cornette? I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a Jim Cornette guy. Okay, bro. Wow, this guy really thinks people who pops out of boxes get over, bro. I mean, seriously, bro. Well, shit, Russo. It did got over, jackass. I mean, damn. I went crazy as a kid when Luger popped out of a box that tag thing, or when Captain Check and Dooley the Butcher popped out of a box that tag thing. I mean, damn. It couldn't get over, jackass. I mean.
As simple as that. I mean, got over, right? But you're talking about Vince Russo, Mr. Viagra on a pole match.
Oh, yeah. Vince
Jimmy Bagwell on a pole match. I mean, it'll end up being a forklift, but, it's the same principle.
David Arquette. What in the world, Bill? I really got over like a fart in church. Hey, what about Mae Young having Mark Henry's baby, for God's sakes? Oh, yeah, good writing there, Vinny.
Yeah, great writing, buddy. Great writing.
Well, you know what, bro? It must be good, bro, because y'all still talking about it on y'all stupid little show there, bro. I know I got a horrible Vince Russo impression, but damn it, dude.
It's okay, bro. It's okay, bro.
I'm a Jim Cornette guy. Sorry, when it comes to wrestling.
When it comes to the difference between Cornette and Vince Russo, Jim Cornette hands down. He's at least Cornette speaks in a sense that we can understand it better and go, yeah, that would actually work, Cornette. Thank you. You know, Russo, what the hell? Next thing you know, UFOs are going to be landing in the middle of the ring going, what the hell is this?
Oh, yeah. But give Russo a little bit of credit. He actually did do a decent job with Survivor Series 98. I'll give him a little bit of credit. Not too much credit.
Well, even a blind squirrel gets a nut once in a while, you know. It's just what it is.
You've been listening to Larry Holmes again, haven't you?
Maybe.
That's exactly what Larry Holmes said when George Foreman won the World Bell. Blind squirrel to the helm against the acorns first. Yeah, Larry Holmes was not impressed with George Foreman knocked out Michael Moore back in 1994. Probably not as much as Bob Backlund getting over Bret Hart at Survivor Series 1994.
Yeah.
When you sit there and think about 4 year in a 4 year time period, you have a throw in the towel situation between Bret Hart and Bob Backlund. You had Owen probably getting an Academy Award, begging his mom to throw in the freaking towel to save his brother Bret. Oh my Lord! To 4 years later, to what we just freaking see at Survivor Series Deadly Game, big difference in the bookings and the writings, if you would. What difference 4 years could make? You know what I mean? I mean, dang.
Right.
Let me ask this question, man. Do you think they caused enough emotions and enough heat and enough controversies as the 1 year prior to Survivor Series 1997, the pay-per-view that's still talked about to this damn day?
Let's put it this way. There's a lot of people that were especially Bret Hart fans and stuff like that really got pissed. Let's put it that way. You know, doing it again and doing it blatantly like, I did it again, you know.
What was so jacked up, in my opinion? I mean, this goes to show who was running WCW have a freaking clue what the hell they were doing. And this is not a knock on Domino's Page, but on the other channel, on the other pay-per-view, World War III, 1998, the last match of the card, you see Bret Hart fighting Domino's Page for the United States title, and Bret Hart come up short 1 year after the Montreal screw job, and it was just one of the worst matches I've ever seen Bret Hart in, to be all honesty. And then I know they all say Bret was just a shell of his former self. His heart just was not in it. I mean, mentally he was destroyed after Survivor Series 97.
Yes,
It's just sad. It's just sad because,
keep in mind between that, losing Owen, and
well, he hadn't lost Owen yet. Owen was still alive in 98.
Yeah, that's right. He died in 1990.
Yes.
But his mind still wasn't right. He was still recovering from the screw job in Montreal. So he was probably just there. Oh, I'm here. Because to hear Bret talk, he really didn't want to go to WCW. He really did not want to go to WCW. But
they didn't know what to do with him, man. It was proven they didn't know what they were going to do with him.
His suspicion and his worst fears came through.
But Jay, if you listen to Eric Bischoff's podcast, Bischoff says the reason why Bret Hart never got over, Bret Hart never contributed to any damn thing. He just showed up like, okay, what am I doing? He never gave a thought. He never gave any input. He didn't give any kind of creative anything. He never, and Bischoff always says that's why the man never got over. The man did not give a fuck, did not give a crap. He just kind of showed up and just whatever.
Now, wait a minute now. You read Bret Hart's book. I read Bret Hart's book.
Yes,
There's a spot where he had talked to him about doing an angle with Bill Goldberg. And it was pretty much turned down quite a bit. So that
Hogan, wasn't really, feeling it, brother. And they're all trying, it's going to ruin Goldberg. And they got Goldberg's freaking head. And Goldberg, eventually questioned it. But then they eventually, went with the angle. It still happened, but that was really the only angle he did. But Bischoff said it on several occasions. When Bret would show up like a homeless guy getting up from the Park bench. They said Brett was always late. Brett was just like, I just remember watching Thunder and watching Nitro during this time frame. And the matches you see Brett wrestling in 1998 was not the same Hitman you saw in 97 and 96. I mean, it was sloppy. It was horrible. No enthusiasm. You could tell Brett just was not giving it his all. And I mean, like I said, man, I just say the man just did not recover. He just did not recover
it
mentally.
messed with him mentally. It messed with him mentally to the where he was just going through the motions.
So when McMahon agreed to do the finish, where Rich Rosser rode in, had The Rock put the sharpshooter on Mankind, and McMahon ring the freaking bell and made a mockery of what happened, you know, and Mr. McMahon in the ring just laughing and laughing and laughing and embracing The Rock, and it's almost like, talk about slapping the face of the Hitman yet again. But I mean, I know we could do a whole entire podcast on the screw job, and we probably will one day again. But I don't know. I don't know. But overall, Deadly Game, like I said, it was an interesting and exciting pay-per-view from start to finish. I mean, I enjoyed it, and I was glad to see the Big Boss Man getting in the ring and getting some good fights out of Austin. You know, it was a pretty game. It was pretty good.
Oh boy, yeah, like you said, we can go on and on. We really could, you know, because shoot, I think we've already did like at least 2 different shows, if not 3, on various points of the screw job. We've done a podcast about what other people said about the screw job.
We're gonna be talking about the screw job to the day we die, man. Let's just be honest. All us wrestling marks are gonna do that.
Because we could do a podcast on, like you said, Mick Foley and Undertaker, the Hell in a Cell match that'll go down in history as the best ever Hell in a Cell match. You know, wasn't the first, but it was the best. It was the one everybody talks about.
Oh yeah, because they helped change the wrestling world to what it is today. It was. So. Well, damn, dude. Anything else about Deadly Game you want to talk about in particular?
There's a few tag team matches and a few women's spots, but I think that was more cannon fodder than anything else. Sable defeated Jacqueline to become the Women's Wrestling Federation or Women's Champion. Let's see. New Age Outlaws defeated D'Lo Brown, Mark Henry, and the Headbangers for the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championship.
That's right.
And that's it. It was more or less space filler for the tournament for the changing of the rounds.
It was just a filler for the dang tournament.
I mean, the women's division ain't what it is now, where you have a lot better. I'm not taking anything away from Jacqueline or even Sable, you know.
Okay. But Jackie can at least hold her own. You really gonna sit there and bullshit me and think Sable go one-on-one with Ronda Rousey or Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, whatever. Sable got that spot. Hey, Jim Ross, you see that woman over there? Whoa! That's why she got her spot.
Yeah, that was a Vince McMahon toy.
That hard on.
Hey, let's call it for what it is. That was Vince McMahon's eye candy. You know, plain and simple. But
oh my Lord,
Jacqueline had a wrestling background, and
she's badass female, dude.
Yes. So, and the tag team match, it was triple threat. You know, it was great. It was a good match, but let's face it, it was just space fillers. It wasn't really nothing too terribly exciting. But hey, Deadly Game overall, the tournament concept. I think this is the first year that you did not see a traditional Survivor Series style match.
No, you didn't have none of those team versus team.
4-on-4 or 5-on-5.
or even 3-on-3. Bruce would say it just wasn't. It lost its luster, it lost its love. It just wasn't really drawing like it have. And then even after '98, they would do other Survivor Series matches. I mean, go to 2001 where they had Team WWF versus the Alliance, and Bruce liked the concept of the mixed tag matches, the Survivor Series style matches, but he said it just wasn't really drawing. So they had to change it up a little bit. I mean, it is what it is. I still enjoy Survivor Series team versus team. And hell, even earlier today, before we even did this podcast, I was watching the original Survivor Series, 1987, the original Hulkamaniac team, Hulk Hogan, Bam Bam Bigelow, The Rock, Don Morocco, Ken Patera, and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff and Bam Bam Bigelow versus Andre the Giant, Ravishing Rick Rude, the one-man gang, King Kong Bundy, the Natural Butch Reed. Just watching that freaking match, and then, well, what do you know? Hulk Hogan didn't actually, Hulkamania didn't prevail. The first time ever I saw that since he won the championship. Did not prevail when Andre the Giant's team was the sole survivor. I still love 10-man tag matches. The 5 try to survive. And even 4 to settle the score. I like that too. I mean, I still enjoy those tag matches. I still watch it to this day. Every single Thanksgiving, dude. This Thanksgiving night, I'll be watching the 3rd annual Survivor Series. I'm going to be watching the Hulkamaniacs versus the $1 Million Team, the Dream Team versus the Enforcers, the 4x4s versus the King's Court, the Ultimate Warriors versus the Heathen Family, and Rowdies versus Rude Brood. I'll be watching them all that day. My favorite Survivor Series of all time is 1989, bro. I'll be watching that, eat my damn turkey and ham and dressing, all of it, dude, and my pumpkin pie in the end.
Well, this year we get a special treat. We're actually going to have war games this year for Survivor Series.
I'm going to keep my opinions on that shut until I actually see it, because, if they don't do it the way the war games is supposed to be, I'm going to be a little upset. But, I mean, I know it's a different audience nowadays versus back when we were, growing up. But I don't know. We'll see, dude. We'll see what's going to happen.
We'll see what happens. We'll give it the benefit of the doubt. But I think we've covered a Deadly Game pretty effectively tonight. So,
okay, on the scale as far as overall Survivor Series compared to the other Survivor Series, where do you place in the ranking system? Where do you place Deadly Game Survivor Series '98?
Like on a scale of 1 to 10, or just in general?
Oh no, as far as the top. Is it the top 10 Survivor Series for you, or is it in the top 25, or is it the top 20? Where do you rank this Survivor Series at compared to the other Survivor Series?
Well, given that it was different and the first of its difference, fact is that we're putting a tournament into it for the World Wrestling Federation Championship, kind of homage to WrestleMania 4 for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. I'd probably say it's in my top 10 at least, because I'm like you. I like this the traditional style of Survivor Series, the 4-on-4, 5-on-5. Did like the concept of Raw versus SmackDown, but I would say that it's in my top 10. I probably ranked it about number 7 in my top 10. I'd give it that much. I mean, it catapulted The Rock, the great one, the People's Champ. And why not pour salt in the wound, giving Mr. McMahon character, more villainous traits.
I respect your opinion, boss. I gotta disagree. I don't put it at number 7, maybe at 17, just for the fact that it was The Rock's first championship win, and it was a swerve. But I overall the event, I don't know. When I think about the Survivor Series, other than the mixed tag matches, I really like the fact that they were trying to treat Survivor Series like where you will finally see the WWE champion versus the Universal champion like once a year, the special challenge match, but which champion is going to reign supreme? Have Raw versus SmackDown. That was kind of exciting because it's almost like that old school effect. What would happen if the NWA champion versus the WWF champion, or even WCW champion versus WWF champion, or those kind of scenarios? Like, 'cause at one point, like in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, you wouldn't see that happen. It was very, very hard to put two of the best world champions, and on a special night, who would actually win. And just the fact you would see that with matches like Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan, or even Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles, champion versus champion. And even Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre was actually a pretty good matchup. I put those kind of events up there, but I don't know. But I still say to this day, number one Survivor Series of all time. This is my own personal favorite. I was a 10-year-old kid at the time, and I loved the Hulkamaniacs versus the $1 Million Team. The third annual Survivor Series, if you would. But boss, that being said, man, I've got to hop off here, dude. I got to let it go. So you want to close out the freaking show? Close out the freaking show, and we'll be back next time. And next time, we need to talk about Starrcade, the other Thanksgiving night tradition, and Christmas tradition. Depends which event you saw. That good?
Yep, sounds great. Well, see you next time, fans. So long.